Y'all. Hey y'all, it's your girl Pound Cake, and I'm coming to you today with another video. I'm a little upset, a little baffled, a little shaking boots in regards to my birthday trip. I know I've shared with you guys a little bit about my birthday trip and how excited I was for it, but it's no more. Now, I'm going to go ahead, I wouldn't call it a story time, but it's just more so like I'm upset and I have to vent and say this somewhere, so why not share it here with y'all. Now, for those of you who do know, or some of you who don't, for my birthday I was going to go to Bali next year. I was going to Indonesia. I was so excited about it, and how I do things, I do like to plan ahead of time. I hate scrambling. I hate you know, when people don't have like plans, itinerary. Like, I'm also down for, of course, you know, improvising and just kind of winging things, but when it comes to things like this, I like to be on top of it, know how it's going, know what's going, etc. And my birthday is just no different. My birthday's in January, and this year I have went to New York for my birthday. I went to New York, I stayed in Hell's Kitchen, and I was there for a week, and I had a blast. A lot happened. I might even do a story time on that, I don't know. But anyway, and I really enjoyed it. So, you know, every year I want to like up it a notch, like Annie up type thing. And next year I was like, I want to do like a big trip, like long flight across the world, continents, things like that. I was like, I want to do that. I've always, you know, done a trip for my birthday, and I'm like, I want to do something different. Now, Bali's always been on my to-do list, right? It's on my bucket list. Bali, the Maldives, Mykonos, Greece, places like that have been on my bucket list, and I was like, oh my god, I may be able to check that off my list. I'm, you know, excited. So like I said, I like to plan ahead, and back in June I pulled the trigger and bought my flight, reserved my private villa, like doing the things, right? Because like I said, I don't like scrambling. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger. Now, that was back in June, and things were, you know, still going on. The country was wide open, etc. Now, late July, the country shut down for tourism. So no one can come in, the country. You know, they had it on lockdown, which I understood, right? Because it was a surge and things were going on, especially with today's time. And before you even get on my helmet about me going elsewhere during a pandemic, mind your business, please. Thanks. Anyway, but yeah, so I was like, all right, cool, let's do this. They shut down. I didn't really trip because I'm like, you know, my birthday's in January, I have plenty of time, like no big deal, we're good to go. So that was July. Past August, September, October, and in October, they did go ahead and open back up. However, they only opened up to 19 countries, and the US was not one of them, right? So I'm like, ooh, that's sticky boots, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever, no big deal. I'm just gonna wait it out. I'm sure they'll open back up. Here we are. Today happens to be the 14th of November, but all this started on like the 8th, right? So I call the airline, and the airline is like, oh, we don't have any notice of, you know, the country or the flight being canceled, right? But I've been checking the embassy website every day, like the CDC website, and they're like, no, we're closed, we're closed, we're closed. So I'm like getting nervous. I'm like, yo, it's getting close. At this point, I have like 2 months. And I'm like, should I make alternate plans? Like, what should I do, right? So I'm calling the airline back and forth. I'm like, you know, I don't like this, right? This is why I plan ahead. Here we are in November, and I'm like, the country's still closed to US citizens, because we all know the US is ghetto, right? Like, we're ghetto. We don't follow rules. We do what we want to do when we want to do them. And other countries are not with that. They're like, y'all, get it together, okay? So for this trip, I've gotten vaccinated. And I'm gonna be honest, that's The reason why I got vaccinated was for this trip, because I'm like, I have to have a vaccination, so I might as well just get it. So I've been vaccinated. I went and got my international driver's license because I was going to rent a scooter for the 3 weeks I was there. Like, I'm doing all the things. I got me a backpack, I got me a GoPro camera. Like, I'm trying to do all the things. Like, I booked excursions, I got my travel insurance. Like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed. I got my seat, I paid for my seat assignments. Like, I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do. And the trip is approaching and things are not looking on the up and up. So I'm a little shook. I wasn't gonna lie. I was calling in. So this is the first time I ever bought a ticket with booking.com. I would never do that again. Those are the type of tickets you get because it was super inexpensive, and I'll give you the prices because, y'all, like I said, I'm not rich. I just do what I do so that I can, you know, obtain the trips that I want to obtain and go places I want to go. But the ticket to Bali round trip was like $757. You couldn't beat it. So I was like, pull the trigger. However, that ties my hands, right? Because I'm booking it through a third party, and they're saying it's a travel agent, but it's really not. But they fall under the category of a travel agent because it's a third party. Keep that in mind. So I've been calling them. I've been calling Singapore Airlines, which is the flights that I'm taking, and nobody's communicating with anybody, right? Like, they're like saying one thing, booking.com is saying one thing, Singapore Airlines saying another, and like, at this point, I would get them on a three-way call. Like, hold on while I call them. And mind you, this is not like no easy whole times. I'm waiting time like 40 minutes sometimes, 30 minutes sometimes. I've waited like an hour and a half before, like, but like, it's so much whole time, like, but I need to get this taken care of and understood so I can make my arrangements if needed. So I called booking.com and they're like, you have an as-is ticket and we don't have anything. I was like, well, what if I don't use it? Like, what if I can't go to the country because the airport I'm flying in has been shut down since July? They're not even open. So I have a ticket that lands me nowhere, you know? And they we're trying to hear it pretty much. Like, well, you can change your destination. And I'm like, but I want to go here. Like, what are my options, right? So all week I'm going back and forth. I'm asking for supervisors. They're like, we'll have to call you back. They don't call me back, vice versa. We're playing tag all week. I finally get a representative on booking.com, and they're like, well, what we'll do is you can change your destination, but there'll be a rebooking fee and this and that. And I'm like, you're gonna charge me because I have a ticket that is no good as of right now? And they're like, well, it's policy and this and that. They were trying to charge me $109 on top of what I already have. And they're like, well, you're the one changing it. What? Of course I'm changing it. I can't go there. They're closed. And they're like, well, the ticket's that's confirmed. And yeah, we're going back and forth. I'm getting so irritated. Like, I don't understand. Like, no one's understanding me. I feel like no one's listening. No one's showing me any compassion. This is getting really frustrating. And mind you, it's my birthday. Like, this trip is for my birthday. So I'm like, no. So then I called Singapore Airlines again, and I'm like, what's going on your end? And they're telling me they were like, well, try to get a limited stay visa. I'm like, okay, limited stay visa. Let me see what I can do. I do that. I get to the portion where it says I have to be either sponsored by a Indonesian resident or a government official from the embassy to get a limited stay visa. Who gonna sponsor me? Who's gonna sponsor me? So that was done. Then I called back and they're like, well, what you can do is you can reroute your flight, fly to Jakarta, quarantine for 9 days, and take a ferry to Ubud, to Bali. I'm not doing all, like, first of all, I get there on the 15th of January. My birthday is on the 17th. I don't want to be in nobody's hotel room quarantining on my birthday. Like, I could just stay home for that, right? So we're getting to this point, I'm getting really frustrated, and I'm just like, you're not even understanding me. I understand you're trying to give me some options, but they're not even realistic options. Like, think about it. No. So I called booking.com on hold again, and then I get someone and we're speaking, they're like, what can you do? So they were like, you can pick another destination, but it has to be with Singapore Airlines because that's what my tickets are with. So they were like, you can go anywhere that they go. Well, they specialize like in the Asian part of the continent or whatever. So it's like China, Japan, They even have a few, like, they have like Australia, of course Bali, they had Dubai, they had the Maldives. They had a lot of other locations, which is fine, but the thing is, it's not just about the ticket or the flight. I have to also consider accommodations, right? So I have to find a place that's open, because a lot of places are closed, that is open, that also isn't super expensive. I was getting a private villa for like 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks, for 430 bucks. I mean, fly, bomb, like, bruh. So with my almost $800 ticket and like 400, like, I'm spending $1,200 for a beautiful place. Like, I was excited, and that's just for the room and the flight. Super excited. So I'm upset because this is where I really want to go, and the price, I was like, dang, like, I'm gonna have a really good time. Like, I was excited. I bought a backpack. I was gonna do all kind of like excursions and just navigate and just really enjoy, and I can't even do that. So I'm upset about that. So I'm sitting here trying to find a location that the Singapore Airlines goes, on top of trying to find or see how much it costs for accommodations, which is like a hotel or villas or whatever they have, to make sure it makes sense. And nothing was clicking. I was like, bruh, Dubai, expensive. Maldives, expensive. Like, everywhere was expensive. And it had like South Africa, and I would have went there, but I'm going for my birthday. Like, that's not where I wanted to go. So I'm upset. Now, I was like, you know what, I'll just maybe try to go to Turkey. Like, I'll go to Turkey, and then go to Istanbul. And I was like, okay, I'll go to Istanbul, and I'll take another flight and get to Adelaide. Tell me why it's closed. That wasn't even an option. And so I'm like, okay, so my hands are really tied at this point, right? Tied. So now I'm like, where am I gonna go? So I'm doing investigations, seeing who's open and seeing what works. Well, we got to Thailand, and I saw Phuket, and I was like, And being that, like, my heart was set on Bali, of course, any other options was not something I wanted to really move forward with, because I'm like, bruh, I want to do something that I want to do. Like, and not saying anything's wrong with Thailand, but it wasn't on my to-do list, right? My heart, like I said, was set on Bali. So I looked up Thailand. They have just recently opened, and there's no quarantine order, so when I land, I can just get to the money. Like, I can just start doing what I want to do as soon as I pull up. So I'm like, that's cool. And then I looked at accommodations, and it was really, really inexpensive. Like, for the time I'm going to be there, I think it's like 200 and some change, like, for like 13 nights. So I'm like, okay, this works. They're open. The airline I'm flying goes there, and the accommodations is actually less expensive than where I was going. I mean, it's not a private villa with a private pool, but I mean, it's a nice place. So I'm like, I guess, like, what else? So I called booking.com. I let them know I'm ready to go ahead and reroute my flight. And then here we come to the money. They're penalizing me for rebooking A, B, C, D, F, and G. I'm hot. I normally don't go off on people, but I was just frustrated dealing with this all week, and I was like going off on them, and I felt bad. Of course, I apologize at the end, but I'm just like frustrated, like, because I feel like no one was understanding me or even trying to like understand where I'm coming from. They were like, I understand, man. I'm like reading a script, like, no compassion, and I'm hot. Like, yeah, it's my birthday, so of course it's more personal to me than them, but at the same time, it's my fucking birthday. Like, are you kidding me? So anyway, I'm speaking to 10 different people. They give me the same thing, like, you gotta pay this amount, you gotta pay this, you gotta pay that. So I talked to my sister, and I was expressing my frustration to her, and she was like, Dominique, are you really gonna risk $800 over $100? Girl, pay the difference and go about your day. You know, like, it's not like you're gonna lose your ticket all the way. You still can do something. It may not be what you want to do, but really, you know. So I slept on it, put it in consideration. I thought about it. I was like, you know what, I'll just pay this one something and be done with it, and then just know that, you know, things are back good and I'll be going somewhere. Again, I still like have a slight attitude that I won't be going to Bali, but I'm going to Thailand. No big deal. They have a lot of fun stuff I can do. Like, they have the elephant sanctuaries, the big Buddha, like a lot of like fun things I was going to do in Bali I can do there as well. So I was like, fine. So I called back booking.com, prepared to pay the money, and I actually extended my trip a couple days as well. Tell me why all I have to pay was $25. I don't know if they saw the notes on the account or what, or something that I have been calling, but they only charged me $25. I said, oh, okay, here, take it. So I paid him $25 and everything was good. So now for my birthday, I'll be going to Thailand. I mean, I'm still kind of like excited, but I'm also still kind of like bummed out that it's not Bali. Eventually I'll get over it, but I'm just like, I'm doing something, right? As of now, knock on wood. But I'm doing something, so yeah. Like I said, I'm upset because Bali was like on my list. It was always been a place I wanted to go, and I guess, you know, things change. Like I said, like I plan ahead because I like scrambling. I like having stuff in order, and for this to like fall apart like that, like so close to my trip. And to be honest, I could have waited because they were like, well, I try waiting until like the middle of December, like a month before your trip. And I'm like, well, yeah, but then what if I in the same position and the tickets are more expensive, right? Because I have to pay the difference for whatever new flight I'm going to take, and I was just not comfortable waiting and doing that. So I just made an executive decision and decided to pull the plug on Bali and just go to Thailand. So for my birthday, for my 36th birthday, I'll be in Thailand. I'll be in Phuket, and you guys know I'm going to be vlogging up a storm. I'm so excited. I mean, that sound like, because I said I'm a little it's not Bali, but again, I'll be in Phuket doing some things. But yeah, I'm excited to share with you guys too as well, like what it is I'll be doing while I'm out there. I have to like do some research, go to YouTube University, look up a few you know, vlogs, things people have done when they're there, just to kind of see what they're like, what's out there. But again, I went ahead and switched out my insurance that I received. I had to file a request to change it, since I'm changing destinations, to see what the amount would be. I'll have to pay this different, so no big deal for that. And then I had got a refund on my seat selection, so I have to try to select my seats now. And the crazy part about it is I'm still going to Singapore, so the beginning of my flight is the same exact one I had when I was going to Bali. I believe from LAX going to Singapore, 17.5-hour flight direct. And y'all know I'm going to vlog that as well for that experience altogether, so we gonna see. The only difference is I'm going to Thailand, which is actually only an hour from Singapore, as opposed to Bali that was 5.5 hours. So it won't be too brutal on the second leg. But yeah, we're gonna see what Thailand has to offer. Again, I'll get out of this, and I'll, you know, get excited as the time comes closer. I was, of course, happy to try new things, and y'all know I'm like obsessed with ramen right now, so I'm gonna be out there eating all the ramen. I'm gonna be tearing that ramen up. But yeah, so pound cake gonna be in the motherfucking Phuket, Thailand. I'm gonna be in Phuket, Thailand, y'all, for my birthday. So it is what it is. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I was, like I said, it was a bummer, and I wanted to just get this out because I really am upset. So like I said, I just wanted to go ahead and get this out because I want to just release this, because I will eventually get excited for Thailand. But right now, because like I said, I was so fixated on Bali and that just not coming through, and we just, you know, doing all the things, it definitely did kind of put like a damper on my birthday trip and how I feel. But I'm sure I'll have a really good time in Phuket. So anyway, again, pound cake won't be in Bali for 2022, but I will be in Thailand, Phuket to be exact, and I'll get excited a little beforehand. But if you stuck it through this, thank you for listening. It's my little venting session. But yeah, I do want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you know, you're gonna see you in my next video. Your girl is out. Peace.